Yo, people, welcome back to the YouTube channel. You already know what time it is. It's time for another episode of All You Can Eat Chelsea. Big up your damn selves in the building. Make sure you smash up the likes and subscribe if you're new. Let's go. I mean, listen, this is going to be, I was saying to the boys just before we started, literally just now, I feel like this might be a little bit more of a happy chappy episode, purely because we haven't played football since the last one. So we've already ranted and cussed them in the last breaking, well, I don't know what you want to call it, emergency episode, emergency meeting, crisis meeting. So this one is just powerless Pochettino and transfer rumors and Sheffield United upcoming with no fullbacks, but surely we must win. Miz, how are you doing, my brother? How are you feeling?
Good, man. Besides the fact how hot it is here in Sydney, Australia, man, it's so damn hot. Oh, man, like I've got fans in every room blasting, got the aircon. But besides that, man, it's all right. Let's talk Chelsea, bro. Let's talk Chelsea and get even more heated up.
Oh, dear Lord. Younes, brother. How are you doing, bro? How are you feeling?
I'm good. I'm good. As you said, like this isn't an emergency episode. This is regular schedule, part of the timetable. So we're gonna get into this despite the news that's been dropping that we've seen, and I'm sure we'll dissect it. But the game tomorrow, it's a must, isn't it?
100%. It is a must.
We say must for everything,
but we say must every week.
But we don't must.
We do say must a lot, but
we don't must.
This is we'll talk about it. But Baba, brother, how are we doing today?
I'm doing good, bro. I couldn't care less about how we are playing these days. I didn't even do the watch along. One of my friends who's a Man United supporter watched his team lose. Then he did a Chelsea watch along on my channel because I was enjoying my friend's wedding, bro. So I won't let this club ruin my enjoyment. I told you on the group as well. So I was having a blast. But yeah, there's only a limited time that you can run from a certain situation. When you're back, you have to face the music. And yeah, here we are praying that we win somehow against Sheffield United of all the teams. So yeah, that is what it is, being a Chelsea fan these days.
Well, I'll start with some good news before we go to the Pochettino and must-win situation and whatnot.
Oh, well, we got some good news?
Oh, it's weird news because I don't really understand.
Playing tricks again with me, Matisse.
Yeah, I'll read it out. I don't really understand it, to be honest. Craig Hope, a journalist, is saying that Eddie Howe can't confirm if Chelsea loanee Lewis Hall will be a Newcastle player next season. Says the decision isn't as certain criteria have been met.
Interesting.
But it was a
28 million obligation, to buy at the time of the deal, but maybe there's certain criteria that have to be met that hasn't. I don't know if it's game time and minutes. That's in their control completely. It would be wonderful if he came back. I'm not going to lie. It would be very strange, though, because it did really feel like he left. I know he left on loan, but the whole way that it went down, it just felt like he left. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure that he is leaving, but it seems like he might not be. But again, we're probably, grasping at straws. Maybe this guy's just not as informed as he needs to be. Where do we start? I mean, I've seen us linked with every single Tom, Dick and Harry this week. Every single striker on the planet. Victor Osimhen signed a new contract, which basically just inserts a release clause and extends it, which really won't be activated until the summer, most likely, because there's no way they're going to move him on in January mid-season, I don't think. But then you take a look at Paulinho links and you see other strikers and you think, okay, well, there's going to be some serious damage done this January with this new spine we're trying to build. And obviously Cobham's going to get cut. Maatsen and Trevor Chalobah. But one name on that list, before we get to the whole Pochettino and powerless situation, potentially he's not going to get what he's not going to get the power he needs or he desires. There was a certain Madueke on that list. And I've seen Disasi on lists. I've seen Madueke's on lists. I've seen even Gusto on a list. How do you guys feel as fans about players leaving the club 6 months after joining? Or even 12 months after joining? Like, does that rub you up the wrong way, or is it just Chelsea at this point?
Man, this is what we touched on, I think. Not the last emergency one, the last normal one, the normal episode that we had. And we said that, it's ridiculous that it's come to this point where we've just bought a player less than 12 months ago, and we're now looking to get rid of them. And it kind of encapsulates exactly what is wrong with Chelsea Football Club, like one part of it, which is the recruitment. And I'm just baffled that it clearly seems like when Pochettino was hired, they didn't have any communications with Poch as to who they were going to bring in, and to get some sort of consultancy from Poch. It now kind of all looks like Poch was just given these cards. He was just handed these cards.
Yeah.
But I find looking back now, I find that whole thing so confusing. Like how hasn't Pochettino as well, when taking the job, I think he started from 1st of July, but he already had the job by, I think, 2 weeks prior or 3 weeks prior. Somewhere in June, he ended up accepting the job. How hasn't Poch intervened during that interview process to say, may I know who you're getting for me? Because I'm going to be the one who's going to be managing all of these players. I'm going to be the one responsible moving forward. May I know who you're getting? That way I can give you some input. But it looks like maybe he didn't even ask that question. Was he just, as Younes and Baba has mentioned previously, whenever I've sort of thought about this, was he just so excited just to come back to Premier League and just to manage a big club like Chelsea that he just didn't care?
Owners would have been like, here's your 10 million per year. Come and manage
and he was just excited about that.
Yeah. Here's your 10 million. Please come and manage it. Don't ask any questions. We are going to sign a bunch of kids. There should be no negative point from
commentary coming from you.
Yeah.
Or else I am blocking you.
None of this bullshit that we need experienced players after every game that you lose. Make this work. Take this 10 million.
And I
That's
guess
how it went down.
Now it once again makes sense when we hear about Poch not going to have power in the transfer market. He's going to get input. So I guess it all kind of makes sense. He was never going to be given any power. He's going to be kind of told that these are the type of players we're looking for. What do you think? And he'll give his 2 cents about it. But I'm pretty sure Pochettino has certain players in his mind. But maybe we're never going to get. So I don't want to be in this situation where in January, we're going to get some more players, and he may once again not be capable of getting the best out of them. And again, in summer, we're going to be talking about the players that we bought in order to get rid of them. Like, we're always going to be in this stupid cycle of rebuilding. Do you know how mad that sounds, Matisse? That, like, for me, the fact that, I don't know if you guys have noticed, like, the word rebuild is getting thrown again. Chelsea going to rebuild again. Like, didn't we rebuild last summer?
We're rebuilding on the rebuild.
Yeah.
So what's that called? Like, never
and we will be
before.
rebuilding on the rebuild that built the rebuild. We will be doing that.
When you are rebuilding that many times, you don't have a building.
You don't know how to lay a brick.
You gotta lay you don't know how to lay a brick. Exactly, you know. So I don't know, man. It's just
His title is coach, isn't it? It seems it's obviously coach, which is, as this person articulates, you just deal with the players that you're given. Like, you're given players and you coach them. But my problem right now is that you're not, first of all, giving him balance. You're just giving him only young players. Like, you had this rule of nobody over the age of 23 or 25. So you're only giving him young players. So your balance is already distorted at that point. And on top of that, it doesn't seem like your profiles are actually linked to one another. As in, it doesn't seem like you're building a team that makes a lot of sense. You're bringing in a manager that wants to counter press from the front, that wants to play a high energy, high octane game with Gallagher in the 10. Any manager who's playing Gallagher in the 10 has made their intentions clear in life, right? But yet you bring him Disassi as a centre back who's not the quickest, knowing that you should know he's gonna have to play a high line. You bring in Mudryk, Jackson, and Madueke as your front three, your project front three. There's no goals in this front three. You either get goals in the middle or you get goals from the wide areas. It's either Liverpool or it's Man City. But you haven't picked either. You've gone neither. You've gone two raw out-and-out wingers who want to carry the ball and dribble, probably thrive better in transition, not low blocks, who are very like rough and raw with their game. Don't really have that Cole Palmer until he came in. You know, don't have that level of IQ, footballing IQ. And then you bring in Jackson, who again, track record up front is very minimal. So even if you're trying to piece together a team for any coach, it just doesn't really make sense. The fact that Pochettino is asking for, I don't know, a physical, capable 6, which is, I don't know, it seems to be what he's looking for. People have talked about Paulinho. People have talked about Onana at Everton.
Matisse, can I just quickly ask you, what was Caicedo then? Like, what did...
It appears Caicedo is a box-to-box midfielder.
When we told he... I'm confused, bro. When we told he was going to be a DM or something?
Well, it appears he's a box-to-box midfielder. Now, the next guy that's going to be the 6 is Lavia, but he's not fit. Now, when Lavia comes, the one thing I have an issue with is that he's aerially not great. Like, his aerial numbers last season weren't brilliant. So he's another one that definitely press resistant, can definitely cover some decent ground and can put in a tackle, don't get me wrong. But he's not necessarily the DM. Like, he's not an enforcer. He's not a destroyer. So you may run into issues with him. My thing is that if there is a midfielder coming in, the knock-on effect that's going to have is going to be crazy, because there's no way all of Lavia, well, I think Lavia might be the one that falls here because he's injured, but there's no way Lavia, Caicedo, Enzo, and a top-level, expensive new DM is going to survive in a 2-man formation. It sounds brilliant on paper. It sounds very, very dreamlike on FIFA, but it's just not going to run. Someone's going to get pissed off with their game time and they're going to bounce if they can keep themselves fit. If they can't, then, you know, that's not a good thing, but it might calm things down. Leslie Okachukwu's definitely going out on loan if that's the case. So we don't have any loan spots left, though. That's the funny thing. We don't have any loan spots left. So if we are bringing in a 6 in January...
This is mad.
Who's leaving?
It's mad. Matisse is asking the question and he's giving his answers, and it sounds all mad.
Yeah. The maths ain't mathing. It's bonkers, man.
Oh, but someone did calculations on Twitter to say that we actually don't have a short midfield. When you put everybody together in terms of Gallagher, Carney Chukwuemeka, you bring Okachukwu into this, like, we don't have a short midfield. It's of normal height, you know. You look at Liverpool, they don't necessarily right now have this Fabinho type player, but they're still coping. This is why, in my opinion, the midfield, yes, you may not have a Declan Rice or you don't have a Rodri or I don't know, but I just don't think it's in my opinion, with the options that we have, if everybody was fit, I just don't think it's, as Saeed would say, it's curtains on the wall. I don't think it's like panic stations. I don't think it's way back. How can you form a midfield partnership and how can you win games? Like, you've got Lavia, Caicedo, and Enzo. Lavia obviously is not fit, but when Lavia is fit, you have a good midfield. I don't think it's panic stations in there, but maybe it's just me.
Bro, I don't even want to answer anymore, bro. I give up.
It's incredible that we're at this point after spending. If you talk Caicedo, Enzo, and Lavia we've not seen yet, so we can't even make a judgment on him. But the fact that there are, it seems that there are attributes in the midfield that we're lacking, and considering having to bring players of with certain attributes in order to compensate for what we're not getting in the midfield of, like you've mentioned, Enzo or Caicedo, Lavia included, is just incredible. And
so what I'm hearing, bro, is we don't have a defensive destroyer, 6'3" or 6'2" midfielder who's going to body everybody and hold shit down, and we don't have a goal scoring midfielder that's going to break into the box and score goals. That's what I'm hearing.
So respectfully, this is going to sound.
Lavia, Enzo, and Caicedo, they don't score goals, bro.
So we're okay. So let's bring it back to basics. Let's strip this all away, right? let's bring it to the core. So we've misspent on Enzo, Caicedo, and Lavia. Like, have we misspent on 250 million and more, 260 or 70 total on those players? Is that what we've done? Right? We've still not got attributes defensively or offensively. Look, shut shop, close the club.
This is what happens when you've got people in charge who don't know anything about what they're in charge of. Like, they're too invested in something without having the full understanding of it. You give this £1 billion to Barcelona right now, and all the shambles that they are in, they will do wonders with this 1 billion because they have got people in their hierarchy who understand football, and manager is working in synergy with those people. We don't have that right now. Pochettino was given these cards to just, go out and do whatever you can with this young lot. The only criticism that I have of Pochettino is that same mistakes are being repeated again and again. Like the Newcastle game, the United game and Everton game were identical. All the 3 games were lost in the similar manner. It is very easy to score a goal against us. You just ping a ball in behind our back line, and there would be someone arriving late and he'll head the ball in the back of the net. So that is down to the coaching, I believe. But the players' quality, the squad, being oversized, players leaving the club after 6 months is all down to the ownership. I'm not even surprised. I'm not even surprised this is happening right now.
At this rate, from the conversation that I'm hearing, I think it's cheaper to change a manager than to bring in 3 more new players. Get a manager that's actually going to do something. Are you guys listening to when Younes just designed it the way he did?
Bro, we're not giving up on all these players. 100%. We're just not.
Bro, the way Younes just said, did we just misspend on Caicedo, Enzo, and is that what just happened? Like, am I actually hearing this?
You know what? History would tell you that Poch's midfield is a ball carrying midfielder and an anchor and a 6, right? A Wanyama and a Dembele or an Eric Dyer or something else.
So we got the wrong manager.
Someone like Christian Eriksen.
I'm just listen, chat. Don't take everything I'm saying literally. I'm just trying to speculate as to why he's not getting the best out of this midfield. Because if he's trying to play a high energy game, right, and a back and forth, that's not Enzo's game. That's not control. That's not volume. That's not get your foot on the ball and dictate and take the game into your hands. That's release it as soon as you get it, right? Which leads me to believe that you don't need someone as technical or as good on the ball as Enzo. You just need a 6 who's going to hold it down when you're getting transitioned on, because we're very open right now and we don't seem to be handling it very well. Caicedo's jumping and jolting forward and getting stuck into tackles that he has no business getting stuck into and leaving space behind him and getting rounded. And then for a great transitional game, what could you do with a ball carrying midfielder, right? Like Moussa Dembele that he had at Tottenham, or Mateo Kovacic when he was actually decent at Chelsea. So that just feels like what he needs. I don't know. And unless he's gonna fucking calm the game down and slow it down for us, then that seems to be the case. Caicedo doesn't carry the ball. Enzo doesn't really carry the ball that well either. Lavia does, to be fair, but he's not fit. We'll see. Just speculation. That's all it is. I'm just a little bit confused. We have Santos. He's not very tall though. He's a very good player. So he's not going to help. Cassidy's very tall. He potentially could crash the box. Maybe there's solutions in-house, but I don't know.
So what we are saying is we need a whole new midfield. Is that what we're saying? Is that what we are saying?
Oh dear God!
In January, we need a whole new midfield. This is mad, Like, are we at a point where we're gonna sell Enzo?
You see, this is where we talk about, I think, what the original point was. When you look at getting players in and then just expecting a manager, or if we call them the head coach, right? Just here you go, do what you got to do, right? It's not how it works. On a certain level, yes. But you have to bring players that are going to suit the manager that you've employed. Or if you have certain batch of players, you need to make sure that you get a manager who knows exactly how to execute the plan with the players that you have. The problem is we now, I think, have come to an understanding that the owners, the recruitment, when they got in Poch, they didn't bring Poch on that basis. They brought in Poch as someone that's just going to go ahead with whatever's given and just, that's it. We'll see what happens.
Wow.
That's wrong. It's wrong. It's wrong. It's wrong. The manager, I'm not saying, I understand in today's game, it's not as easy as before where you give the manager the keys. Here you go. Do what you got to do. Some managers need that. But there has to be a level of, okay, you have your system. He's going to need a few players that are complementing exactly what he requires, right? We've not done that. And the problem is now, we go into the January market with Pochettino, right? And we get whatever we get. And he's got no power, which we're probably going to talk about. And he's just got a bit of input. And you best believe that input will be taken and probably thrown in the bin, right? He will end up losing his job with the form that we're on and the way that it's going. And then we'll get new players. Then we'll sack Poch. Then we're going to get another manager who's had no input, if we're talking about input whatsoever in terms of this January window. So he's going to find a batch of players that, all right, he's just got to make it work. This isn't, as you said, we're going in circles.
Bro, if we were to sack Pochettino before the January transfer window, here's a stat for you. We would have 4 different managers in 4 transfer windows. 4 transfer windows, 4 different managers under this ownership. Yep. First summer, Tuchel. January, Potter. Summer, Poch. 4th window, January again, new manager. Lampard. So this is why, like, sacking Poch for me is just like, as much as he's absolutely bricking it a bit, right, in terms of the performances and the results, it's so insane to me that we're even having this conversation. It like I dread the day if we actually have to sack him this season, if it gets that bad. Because if it does get that bad, then it will become intolerable, right? And you can't defend it. It's inevitable. Because if he brings us into a relegation battle, it doesn't matter what I think or what I would hope he could bring. It doesn't matter because he's put us in a precarious position. But I could not be more against having 4 managers in 4 windows. It burns me to my core. I couldn't be more angry that that's even a potential, and I couldn't be more against it. You can't have 4 managers in 4 transfer windows and go anywhere. You can't. You just can't do it.
And on top of that, because that's a big point, you're right. There's no consistency there. But on top of that, to just keep going after players that are just not going to be at a level that's going to at least get Chelsea out of this rut and this mess that they're in order to go and get players that are going to build a spine, that are going to be quality, that have some sort of pedigree that we can build around because we've gutted everything. If we don't even do that, you know what my concern is? Like, we go into January, for example, and we're going to make the same mistakes again. That's what I'm scared of. I'm scared that, you know what? Even if we get rid of a few players and then we go in and we make the same mistakes and we get players that are just not going to be at a level and we just throw more money out of the window. That's what I'm worried about in terms of
I'm guessing you're not impressed with the transfer targets you're seeing then.
Bro, no.
I mean, it looks like we're on course to make more mistakes.
Yeah, exactly.
This is why I keep saying, why hasn't Pochettino during that interview process voiced his opinion as to who he wants, and why haven't they obliged? And if this will continue again and results will falter, then he will get sacked. Like, no one wants him sacked. Like, no one wants him sacked. We want Chelsea Football Club to flourish and succeed. But the methodology that is in place only has one result. That is him getting sacked. Because the result it's inevitable.
It's inevitable, and his head will be the one that gets chopped off. If results keep going and then there's enough pressure, something needs to happen. Screw it, sacrifice Poch, get him out, right? And then big monumental change that might even calm things down a little bit. It's inevitable. He is the fall guy, but you're talking about when he came in, why didn't he voice or why didn't he, demand? He's not that guy. We now know he's just not that guy. And he probably never was. And we had that image at the beginning of him saying the right things, then that disappeared fairly quickly. So this is why it's important as well to drop whatever ego or whatever, I don't know, is holding these owners or the recruitment back, right? put it to one side and do what's best for the club. Get a manager that genuinely does have some sort of an opinion and has a demand and is sure and certain in terms of what they are going to execute and what they need. If you're not going to do that and you're just going to try and get someone who you know is just going to comply, we ain't going anywhere.
Do you know what I don't understand, lads? From what Matisse said earlier on, that Poch needs a certain personnel in midfield. Now,
Speculating.
but the speculation I think is probably on point. There is educated speculation. I think that might be one of them. We've got Ugochukwu. He may not be the greatest, right? But you've got that profile that you need to be that destroyer sitter. You don't see Ugochukwu burst up and down the channel, right? He will sit and he will destroy. He will keep that guard in front of the CBs. Brother, why don't you utilize that? We bought him as well. The owners, the board bought him as well. So why don't you utilize him? Have Caicedo as a box-to-box. Have Enzo as, that deep-lying playmaker type of player. Why don't you do that? Why have you persisted on... Okay, and if you do want Gallagher is a very important player to your setup, have the balls to drop either Caicedo or Enzo Fernandez. And if you can't do that because the owners have invested a lot of money, then it's either you have the balls to do it or get the hell out of there or get on with a new program. Find a solution with Enzo, Caicedo, and Ugochukwu. At the moment, it seems like he wants to please the owners by playing, these players that the owners have invested, which makes sense. The owners put in money. That midfield is a lot of money, man. Other Premier League teams would die to have these type of players. Do you know what I mean? I'm pretty sure Enzo Fernandez was linked with Liverpool as well at one stage. I'm pretty sure. Well, we all know what happened with Caicedo, the saga. He was definitely linked with Liverpool. But other teams would be very, very... And I think Man United wanted Caicedo as well. These teams would want these type of players. I feel like we are now finding more excuses to support Pochettino's case. When is this guy actually going to take full responsibility of the squad that he's been given and trying to get the best out of him? Sure, we can give you more players, but when are you actually going to take responsibility? What's going on?
Yeah, personally, I think there's a level in terms of, Poch definitely needs to be doing better, right? I think he can do better. At the same time, this is why we have to go back to the beginning. We go back to how things started off in the first place, and you see a pattern develop, and then you go back and what you see the past begins to make a bit more sense, right? There's players in the squad that, frankly, don't cut it, right? You look at Pochettino and the influence that he actually does have. The fact that, and I'm not sure if we haven't discussed this since the last time we had All You Can Eat, but the fact that Gallagher could be sold in January speaks volumes. That for Pochettino, we know that he is one of the main men, right? And should Gallagher be one of the main men, that's a different topic. We all probably think, no, at a club like Chelsea, he's a squad player. That's just the reality. He's not at that level. But the fact that right now he is, right, it just goes to show. But the fact that we could be selling him when we know he is one of the main men for Pochettino just goes, Pochettino has no influence or power here whatsoever. And he's just going to tag along until he gets sacked.
But the problem is, right, are they, and you've mentioned this already, are they going to keep hiring managers that are just going to tag along? And if they are going to do that, then we're never going to go anywhere.
Yes.
And this is why
exactly.
This is why the manager conversation, I can only take it so far. I can say, you're not doing well enough with the quality of the players that you have. You're not putting together a cohesive team. I can go through all of that. I'm not happy with Pochettino's performance. But the bigger overriding issue is if that they're going to continuously bring in managers that they just tag along, and that's seemingly that's what they've done, right? Because every manager they've brought in, they've completely controlled. Potter, basically an introvert, right? He seems nice guy, right? You take a look at Lampard, he didn't have any power. He was only here for a short spell. You take a look at the shortlist. It was Postecoglou, Company, and Pochettino. They put together a shortlist that they knew almost that they were going with Pochettino, and the fan base wasn't really going to know too much about Postecoglou, and they definitely wasn't going to go for company. Exactly. But neither of those two are elite level top managers that have the experience to be overriding and whatnot. So that's where we're at. Until these lot change their mindset, that's where we're at. And I agree with you. I'm looking at the January targets, and I'm not really like too impressed so far, because for me, there can only be experience coming in, there can only be leadership coming in, there can only be quality coming in, and it can only be really, if we're talking about priorities, goalkeeper and striker, and then you can talk about centre back and midfielder afterwards. But I think the striker it's now a must, clearly. And then the goalkeeper the goalkeeper situation was never rectified in the summer. I always said that. Like, when Sanchez came in, the only positive was he's tall, and hopefully he softens the Caicedo deal, and he doesn't. So he's just tall now. That's all he is just tall. And he still can't seem to claim crosses comfortably. So yeah, all right. Well, we've hashed that out. I
don't know what solution we came up with, but yeah.
We didn't come up with a solution.
We talked.
We didn't come up with a solution. We just clocked. That was screwed until things change. Let's go through some super chats before we move on to the Sheffield United game. Pochettino is making too much excuses. He is massively underperforming. Seems like he was brought in to steady the ship, hence his contract's just 2+1. He hasn't steadied any ship so far. Steadying a ship would have us be in European places, brother. But I agree. Maybe that is the case. But I thought 2+1 is enough, because first of all,
that's a normal contract.
Yeah, that's like a normal contract now.
Don't let the 5-year contract cloud your judgment. That was stupid.
That's stupid.
Unless you're bringing in Pep Guardiola, then that's a normal contract. If you're bringing in Pep Guardiola, you put him on a 5-year deal and you pray that there's a +1 or a +2 on that. But if you're bringing in normal managers who could do this or do that, 2+1 is actually probably the best contract you can give them. 1 year is too undermining for the players and the group, because they're just gonna be like, this guy's only here for 1 year. 2 years +1 is safe. You don't commit to that third. Matisse, I think you lot should look at Inter. Boss, he's a good manager, excellent tactician. With won trophies with Lazio, and now Inter best option. Talk to me, Baba.
Drogbaba shut that down real quick.
Baba, shut that down, bro. He said, listen, don't go anywhere.
See, Simeone Inzaghi is a good manager, but I don't trust these Italian managers, man. Although Conte did well, Sarri was okay, but see, they need certain players to, work according to their system. And all these players that we have, they are not bad players, man. All these players need some experience around them. Caicedo would have balled at Liverpool. True. Because they have Klopp, they have got Van Dijk behind him, they've got Salah, who's the captain of Egypt. Matip is an experienced player. Robertson is the captain of Scotland. So with all these experienced players around you, with the manager who knows what he's about, these players will do well. So changing the manager is not a solution right now if that manager is not Pep Guardiola, as Matisse has said. Another manager will come, he will demand his own players, he will demand experience straight away. When you don't have experience in your team, these players will not perform or play. And on top of that, we are hearing that Thiago Silva will not extend. Okay, I understand he's going to be 40 very soon. But what experienced players do we have left when Silva leaves? Raheem Sterling.
He's probably going to leave as well at the end of this season. I can't see him next season.
Players in this current Chelsea lineup have played more than 3 to 4 seasons of senior football in first division anywhere? None. How many of these Chelsea players right now, apart from Silva, Reece James, I think it's his 4th or 5th season, I'm not sure. Chilwell,
it's his fifth season.
Apart from Sterling, apart from 3 to 4 players, how many players have actually played 4 to 5 seasons of first division football anywhere? Even in Saudi Arabia, anywhere, not only in Europe. So that sums it up, the kind of state we are in. And changing the manager, again, someone wrote in the chat, we have become a snake who's eating his own tail.
That's a brilliant one.
That's spot on.
That is the perfect way to sum it up.
I think as well, the fact that they're entertaining Gallagher, which I'm not surprised. They've been entertaining selling Gallagher every single window since they got here. In the January window, they wanted to sell him to Everton. He rejected. Then they wanted to sell him in the summer. and now they're trying to potentially sell him again in January. And these briefs are not going to work any longer. I think at the beginning, especially with the Mount situation, Chelsea fans were listening to the briefing and the news and the articles and the reports and going, oh my God, what's going on? Snakes, get out of my club. If you try to convince me for a second, and this is not coming from a Gallagher stan, right? You know me. But if you try to convince me for a second that Gallagher doesn't want to play for this club or doesn't want to be here, you are having a laugh. Offering him an 8-year contract. No kid at 23, 24 wants to sign an 8-year contract who has 2 brain cells between them, right? He wants to be here with a normal contract. Pochettino wants to use him. He wants to use him at least as a squad player, bare minimum, because he sees him as integral, right? As he sees him as important to the fabric and the lemons and the lime and all that good stuff, the family and the barbecue chicken. If you sell him in January, what's the point of having Poch? Genuinely, at this point, what's the point of having Poch? If you sell a player that I entertained Gallagher sales in the summer because I wasn't impressed with what I saw, and I didn't think that he could really contribute to the level I'm trying to get to. But we're not even at that level now anyway. We're mid-table, so Gallagher can definitely contribute up until we become a top team again at bare minimum. If you sell Gallagher when the manager wants Gallagher, what are you doing? What's the point? What are we doing here? Like they're building their own team, exactly. And then they're just putting whoever they want in charge of that team, who will listen to them build their ultimate team on FIFA or build their team on Football Manager with their data and their AI. I heard you speaking about yesterday, right? AI scouting that only MLS clubs are using, and Burnley, right? Oh, what a club to follow. You're building your own team, and then you're just putting different puppets in charge, and then when it doesn't work out, you're sacking them, and you're taking away the players that they rate and removing them and putting in your, like, when Roman Abramovich used to want Fernando Torres and Andrei Shevchenko, but he would only do it with strikers, and he would only do it like every 5 years. Like he'd have his little, kid in the candy store moment. I want Fernando Torres. I know you don't need Fernando. I know you don't need Fernando Torres. I know you've got Drogba, and Drogba's never played with a strike partner up until this point. Obviously, Anelka comes later, but I think Anelka could play wide a little bit.
Anelka was before,
right up front, dead in center. He's a striker. He's not a winger. Can't move anywhere else. But Roman had every now and then he was like, I need Torres, I need Shevchenko. But he would only do it every 5 years with that position. This lot are doing it with every position, every year. They wanted Ronaldo. I know you guys wanted Ronaldo, but they wanted Ronaldo. Tuchel didn't. I'm actually shocked that Ronaldo's not here, to be honest. Surprised they didn't show him because they were bringing him in regardless. So I don't know, man. I think at this point it's just
This is why I was saying, I was alluding to the fact that how can you not give power? Like, how can you not give power? Like, if you've got Pochettino as your manager and you believe, some of the briefs that's been coming out. Yeah, bro.
Can I just add here? This sentence here is what fans are gonna fall for. You see this here? I have to bring this up on screen for everybody else in the chat. Sorry, Emmanuel. Big up yourself. Yeah. This sentence right here is exactly what happened with previous players that wanted to stay but couldn't agree terms. Let me tell you something, right? I could agree terms. If I was a Chelsea negotiator, a chief negotiator, I could agree terms with Gallagher tomorrow. It would take me 10 minutes. It would take me 10 minutes to agree a contract with Conor Gallagher. I promise you. I could get that done in 10 minutes. If you believe that Conor Gallagher is an unrealistic contract to agree upon, what do you think he's asking for? 200k a week? 150k a week? No. If he doesn't want to sign a new contract, do you know why that is? It's because they're telling him you must sign an 8-year contract or we're not signing anything with you. And he's not going to sign that. And rightly so, because you shouldn't be signing 8-year contracts. Nobody else in the sport does this. The only people that sign 8-year contracts at this current moment is people coming in because they come in from very low wages and they're absolutely dazzled by 100k, dazzled to be having their wage quadrupled or by
I've seen 5 times. He's on 50k a week at the moment.
But Gallagher knows that he can go to another Premier League club and get his 100k. and double his money. He doesn't need to force himself into an 8-year contract. When you offer somebody who wants to stay in their job a contract that they cannot physically accept, that doesn't mean they want to leave. That means you're kicking them out with courtesy. You're kicking them out with a way out without really giving them a way out. Do you see what I'm saying? If Miz wants to stay in his job, but his company offer him a 10-year contract, you cannot move. You cannot leave your job for 10 years. You must stay here for 10 years. And we're going to offer you a decent salary because we're doing a wage cap with bonuses that include reaching Champions League, which we've missed out on 2 years in a run, on a trot. Excuse me? Am I a dickhead? No, I'm not taking that contract. Now, breaking news, Miz wants to leave. Fuck off, bruv. Do you know what I mean?
This is exactly how it's going down. And we have to understand that. But going back to the point, like the whole buying these players that once again are probably not going to suit Pochettino. This is what I don't understand, the psyche of the owners and the board. So you believe in Pochettino. Clearly you believe in him, and you've continuously said that you'll wait till the end of the season to make a judgment. If you believe in this guy and you like his demeanor, you like his behavior, you like the way you can collaborate with him, and you like the way that he doesn't really rattle the boat too much, surely you give him the players. Like, what's the point of keeping a manager that you like, but you bringing in your own type of players that's not going to suit him, and he's ultimately going to suffer because of the results that's going to come from the consequence of all of this situation. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, it does not make sense. If you believe the guy, then give him the power. And if you can't give him the power, then get someone that you can give the power to. But I don't get
Miss, this reminds me of that comment of a subscriber that you had shared, Miss, on your Twitter, that how American sports work.
Yeah.
They on purpose sell these experienced players, and they want to go about things in their own manner, and they're prepared for the team to not do well for 2 to 3 years. It's called tanking. That
it's
term is called tank.
Yeah.
And then they start buying these experienced players, and then the team starts. But that is not how football works.
Yeah, they don't have relegation there.
Yeah, and
teams don't get
there is
relegated.
a draft system. Even the weakest team get to sign the best players.
The best players.
So that the competition
players.
is equal in the league.
Yeah,
so
it's a completely different model.
So that is why they are not doing this, but they are trying to act like this is an American sport, the European football. And to reach the playoffs is quite easy. 8 teams, 9 teams, 10 teams can reach the playoffs.
Do you know the vibe that I get from the owners and the board? Well, probably not the board. It's more owners, because the board should know, because they're football people. They've managed in Brighton. They've managed in Monaco. So they know how football works. The vibe that I'm getting from the owners is that they really don't think too much about the management role. Like, they don't have they think this is just a puppet. Like, it's the players, they get in, they do their job, they train, and they come match day. They should figure out how to win. I don't think they understand the value of a manager. From the conversation that I'm getting, I feel like these owners think, who cares about him? Like, he's just the manager. Like, they don't get that he is the one who creates the strategies. He is the one who looks at, analyzes the videos and all of that, gives the information to the players, comes up with an attacking plan, defensive plan, what to do, what. I think they came with an understanding. These players just go out there and they play. And if you have a bunch of good players, that should equate to a win. I don't think they understand it.
On top of that, I want to add, I genuinely think, my opinion, the way that I'm reading this situation, it seems like the owners want to call the shots. And they know that if they get a manager in that's got an opinion, that's got a demand, that has some level of authority, that gets diminished. And I don't think that they want to compromise with that. And as you said, in consequence, like the American model, it's a case of, the players are going out there and they're doing their thing, and there's no consequences no matter what happens, because there is no relegation, there is no promotion. As Baba said, there's trades, there's some things you can't control. It is what it is. But that model doesn't work over here. And in order to build a successful team, you need to be sure that you get a manager that you know is going to run it properly and go along with the demands and the requirements of that said manager. But we're not going to do that. And it seems like we're not going to do that at all. When we go back to the point of Gallagher, this begins to show the intention. We are going to, or we've attempted, not we, because we definitely haven't, but the owners are looking to ship Gallagher. And there's only one reason why he's being offered an 8-year deal that every one of them other knows he's going to refuse, like Matisse has alluded to. It's a way to be able to paint and picture that we tried. He doesn't want to stay and he's gone, And the reason why he's going to go, because he doesn't want to sign an 8-year deal, but the club are happy to let him go, is because he's another player that generates nothing more than pure profit. He's an academy player. There is no loss on him. Much like there isn't going to be on Maatsen. There isn't on Chalobah. There isn't on Lewis Hall. There isn't on all these other players that have come and gone because it's pure profit. And the worry is that they're not going to use that money to be able to go and get exactly what we need. Like Baba said, the experience and all of that we absolutely are craving for. We're not going to do that. So you go and look at the intentions. We had a manager that had demands. We had a manager that had some sort of authority that wanted to run it his way. Thomas Tuchel, out the door. See you later. We're not going to do that. Then you hear Todd Bowley come and talk afterwards, after that happened, and said, we didn't share the same vision. We want someone that's going to collaborate. What's collaborate when we start talking about that actual word? No, it's someone that's going to come in and just go along with what you want. And after time now, we've seen that with Potter, we're seeing it with Poch, and we're probably going to see it with the next man. So,
but you know what? That really annoys me is that when they said collaborate, I genuinely thought they meant collaborate, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Collaborate means if it's a song, 2 people sing on the song, you get both sides of the coin, right?
Subscribe.
So.
Right now, they're saying collaborate, but you're not even going to be in the credits, even if you wrote the song or if you produced the beat. If you produce the beat or you write the song, you're not even in the credits. Like, it's collaboration, but I'm going to take all the credit. But when there's no credit to be taken, you're going to get all the slander. Like,
it's such an American way, though, Matisse, isn't it?
Bro,
I've seen people comment.
Yeah. I saw a report yesterday, bro, and it said, honestly, I couldn't believe it. But then I thought, you know what? This just shows how deep we're in the trenches of this brief and PR bullshit. They were like, it was thought to be, you guys probably saw it. It said to be that Madueke was a Graham Potter signing.
Exactly.
I could not believe my eyes when I saw that. Oh,
which
my
journalist
God.
said that? Which journalist
That's going to justify him going now.
When I saw that, I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow, this is so shameless.
This is when you know
shameless individuals.
That journalist is just writing up a lot of BS. Graham Potter signing. Man didn't have a say what time he would wake up. Like, it was all being told to him when to wake up, when to sleep. And he's going to have a say in which player to bring in. He didn't even know what time to go to the toilet. He had to ask. He's like, I need to go because I'm about to do it in my pants. Like, yeah, you might as well just do it in your pants. You're not going now. It's on time.
Mad.
This guy's going to bring in a player. Come on.
Absolutely, exactly that. And it goes to show how it's come to this point. There are narratives that are put out to camouflage and make and simply just get everyone on board and go, oh, okay, now that makes sense. Let's put that to bed. Like this Graham Potter story. Come on, man. He didn't have any sort of say.
Do you see what it is? They're taking credit until it doesn't look good anymore. Then it's like, no, that was somebody else.
Exactly. Then they throw something out in order to get everyone to just go, okay, cool, all right, nice one. Sweet, we got away with that one. Sweet. On to the next one.
I can't wait for them. I can't wait for them to sell Maatsen in January and be like, guys, that was a Frank Lampard signing. And people will be like,
Wait a minute. He was from the academy.
and then they're like, yeah, Frank Lampard signing because he broke through, in the youth season. What? Are you okay?
No, he was a Vincent Company signing, by the way. He's not even our manager.
Do you guys think the owners are?
He was on the short list though, so it's still his fault.
Do you guys think owners are looking at this season as a write-off again? Like they are like, okay, last season we got the benefit of doubt, new ownership and whatnot. At least we got the players to put something to show for, and like this season, okay, let us do it our way. And even if something good does not happen, then we might change our vision or the way this club is being run and all of that. Do you think so? That they are giving themselves another season to write off?
I mean, I don't know how many times you can write off a season, but you can't write off another season. For me, you get an opportunity to write off one season.
Yeah, I completely agree. But what do you think is going on in their heads right now?
I think they fully envisioned. I don't. This is how I feel. This is exactly how I feel. I don't think they fully researched what a manager's duty is at a football club. That's number one. Number two, I don't think they fully researched exactly what Poch brings. I think they just got excited by the fact that Poch can develop young players, and they influx the entire team with young players, thinking Poch is going to turn them all into 80 to 100 million players. This is where all that profit situation comes in, because they're thinking about different revenue streams. What they failed to realize here is bringing Poch, he has a way to play football. In order to develop players, in order to make your players profitable, you do need to win. I don't think they considered all of these stuff.
Madueke is a loss if they sell him.
Well, some people were telling me yesterday that he cost 30 million apparently on a 8-year contract. So essentially his book value is going to be about 27, 25. Yeah. So if they can sell him for 30, they actually bank a 3 million profit.
Exactly.
So you got to think, Matisse, you got to be an accountant here. We're not fans anymore. We need to be accountants.
Pricks.
Exactly.
I almost want them to make a loss. They deserve to make a loss.
They will not. They will
100%.
not. Because from an accounting standpoint, every season that lapses, that's another chunk of their book value reduces. Yeah. And if they can still sell for the same amount of money in the books, it is actually deemed as a profit. So, but I'm tired, bro.
Are they just going
to? Bro, I'm so tired, bro.
But do you know what? This is why Premier League and UEFA coming in with that 5-year cap off rule is actually a good thing, because it kind of stops the extremism of being able to amortize these contracts like crazy.
100%.
So I'm actually really happy that came in, and we apparently voted for it because we just want to be fucking dickheads, right? Not let anybody else take advantage. But thank God that came in, because we needed that. Because imagine
Matisse?
If it didn't, they just keep doing it.
But you know what, Matisse? Because of that, you know how we see all of this Victor Osimhen stuff, how 130, they will not do these ridiculous signings again, because those ridiculous signings were happening because they could spread it out for a longer period, more than 5 years. They could go 8, 9, 10, right?
Yeah.
The fact that they can't do that with Victor Osimhen, it's one of the reasons I feel like they probably won't do this. They won't go after him. And also the fact that they won't pay more wages. One of the biggest things that's happening at the moment is longer contracts, amortized over a longer period of time, which helps the books, and smaller wages. It's twofold. And the fact that they can't do both of these things on Victor Osimhen's case, this is why we're looking at that Sporting Lisbon brother, who was apparently in Championship 2 seasons ago for Coventry.
Yeah. On top of that, this is because it came out that Chelsea apparently are still looking to offer long contracts, even though if it means they have to spread it across 5 years at max, they'll do that, but they'll still offer like 7 or 8 year deals, even though the amortization will be 5, and that's the maximum that they can do.
You know why though, Younes? You know why though? Protects the value of the player. Longer the contract. That means if someone does want to come in and buy that player, you've got to pay out that contract.
They're buying out the entire contract. That buying out of the contract is not amortized. That's for Chelsea's books only. Yeah. So you're completely spot on. But this is why when we're talking about, are they going to continue doing this or functioning in this manner? I honestly think they will, because I don't believe that they've come in. Miz has alluded to it on how they're misinterpreting things on the footballing level. I don't think they're that bothered. Now I don't think they're that bothered. I think they're looking at it going, if we're talking about the season as a write-off, they probably are looking at this as a write-off now, but on a footballing level, and don't worry, we'll go again next year. But financially, we're in profit. Fantastic. So we've succeeded. The season's a success because we're in profit, guys.
Your answer is something, Younes. You're
now
onto
I'm
something.
scared of that. I can't help but look at them and go, that's what you're doing.
They'll be like celebrating coming 12th because the books
Oh,
are
we're in the
saying
green.
You know
the
what, 'cause-
green.
Yeah,
Or in the black.
Yeah.
So to sum up, this will
Yeah, go on.
continue, and we have to pray that we get lucky with 2 or 3 players, and somehow the manager is able to get a tune out of them. And in the process, if we win something good, otherwise it's going to continue the same way.
Only an elite level, crazy level coach is going to win under this kind of model, and even that is a struggle. I can't lie. I still think it's a struggle. So I'm deep in. Even when they've spent big money on Caicedo and Enzo, because they're amortized, they didn't really spend, innit?
This is why I said a long time ago,
and they can get profit from them, really.
Remember, a long time ago, you were saying to me,
deep in.
Miz, no way, how's the owners are ambitious. But I said, Matisse, don't get it mixed up. Ambition and what they're doing, because they're smart. They bought Enzo for X amount of money, no problems, but they're also spreading the cost out over 10 years, 9 years. So if they were to sell Enzo, let's say 3rd season, and they still sell him for, I don't know, 80 million or 70 million, from a book's point of view, they're still banking a profit. Because they've got that leeway with the longer contract. Same thing with Caicedo. They're not stupid. They'll bank a profit. They will bank a profit.
I've been hoodwinked. Interesting.
And on top of this, if the plans for a new stadium come into fruition, right? And I mean, look.
Imagine playing at Wembley with this fucking lot. Fuck me, we'd be relegated.
we saw what happened with Arsenal. They built a new stadium. We saw what happened with Tottenham. They built a new stadium. It could hurt what you're going to do with the team financially, right? And the players that you're gonna be after. But that stadium is going to bring so much value to the club, and that's probably just what they're looking at. Yeah, it's going to bring an increase in match day revenue. Absolutely. Yeah. It's going to bring an increase to the value of the club because now there's a spaceship stadium that's a part of it. So if they ever want to sell in future, that's just increased the value tenfold. Fantastic. You know, in the same way that we're looking at Tottenham that haven't won a trophy in their lives, but the value of the club is actually really high. They've got a brand new stadium that's spanking new that can host all sorts of entertainment gigs and all of that. So that all comes into play. The owners are definitely looking at that and going, that's another big, massive, spike in profits and revenue that's going to come into the club. And like I've said, I'm scared that they're just looking at that as priority.
Younes, do you remember when the owners first came in? One of the first things that they said, we're looking for different revenue streams, and football seemed to have a lot of untapped areas where they've not touched on revenue. There is so many ways they can make money out of football. I truly now think it's not about winning for them anymore. It's not. It's just about money. And by the end of the 10-year tenure, if they can flip Chelsea Football Club for 6 billion, 8 billion, whatever the case is, they walk away from all of this very happy. Because you know what someone said to me on my live chat a couple of days ago? How much does a Premier League winner get? Like, if you win the Premier League, how much money do you get? What's the prize money?
I don't know, but it's a lot.
Let's say 100 plus million, 150 million, something like that.
I'm not mistaken. I think it's around there. Yeah.
Let's put a figure. It's 150 million. Right? How much did Brighton bag for Caicedo?
115.
115. How much did they bag for McAllister?
Like
35.
35.
You see where I'm going? These owners are thinking, what's the point of winning a competition when I can sell players and get more money out of it? See where I'm going with this?
And when you look at the model that they've implemented and the people that they've brought in, they've come from
Brighton model.
That model, yeah.
Why are we buying so many youth players? To be able to flip one of them for 100 million, and then the owners can give the flip to the Premier League and go, I don't need to win you. I've made X amount of money from player sales without winning your stupid Premier League and your stupid Champions League and your stupid any other competitions that you've got. I've sold 5 players and I've banked 400 million.
Yeah.
And I'm going to buy more youth so I can keep doing this for the next 10 years. I could care less what Chelsea wins because that's not my ambition one bit. My ambition is the best of the best 16-year-olds out there that I can flip for a large amount of money. They've clocked the game. They've clocked it. They've seen how, clubs like Brighton, Borussia Dortmund, and whoever else out there in the world operate. And they've clocked that. And this is why. See, this is the difference between owners now and Roman. Because Roman, he was a fan. He didn't care about the money. The guy just gave away. He wrote off billions. He had 1.5 billion that was owing to him. He wrote that off. And the profit that the club got, he didn't bank a single bit of money.
Yeah.
This is the difference. Roman didn't give a damn about the money. He cared about the football club so much as a fan. These lot, I'm fully now clocking it. They don't care. They do not care about because if you did want to win, then you wouldn't be setting up the team like this. You just wouldn't be.
No.
When you look, go on.
Quickly, when you look at City, for example, and you think, how do they get their profits? How do they get their money? Right? I mean, they're not gutting out their entire squad or whatnot. No, they're keeping players that they know are going to sustain and keep them on levels. But you look at, funnily enough, they're kind of doing what we used to do. Players that are coming through the academy and that are not going to make it, right, in terms of the first team properly and settling there, they'll end up getting some pure profit for that. On a commercial level, they're doing what they're doing, but they don't jeopardize the team. They don't jeopardize the success of it. And they keep all their best players. They're not flipping the players over for profit like we're looking to do. So that's on a footballing level. They're going for success. And they will get their prize money and they will make sure that they're getting their money that way. With us, like we've just illustrated, it's the complete opposite, right? Forget the success. That's going to be too long. That's too much work. To try and win the Premier League, forget that, man. We can make money, the same amount of money, a lot quicker by doing it this way. And we're going to stick to this way. And we're going to start flipping these players like tables get flipped in a restaurant. It's just incredible.
Someone just mentioned, Miz, that argument doesn't make sense. Why didn't they just buy Brighton? Brother, Chelsea Football Club, it's
brand
not just
value.
about the player. The brand, like
brand value,
the merchandise. Yeah.
On a commercial level, we're up there.
Yeah, like to be able to build a new stadium and have 60, 70,000 capacity wherever, right? Yeah. You got to understand that. There's a reason why they didn't buy Brighton, because not just the player, different revenue streams. I don't know how many people buy Brighton merchandise, but it's definitely not more than Chelsea merchandise. That's for sure. And
Brighton
on top
is
of that,
not a global name. Chelsea's a global name.
Chelsea's a global name. And on top of that, players that we are looking for, the gems, right? These are like the creme de la creme gems. Like they're the top of the top in Brazilian league, or the best touted. Brighton can't be going for those ones. Brighton go for gems even lower than that.
Mm-hmm.
People haven't even heard of them. So it's a different model.
Yeah.
Sorry. On top of that, one thing with the way that Chelsea was sold as well was a key factor, right? Chelsea, when you look at it, in the circumstances that we got put up for sale, they got the club at a cut price. For being honest, if it was down to Roman, just Roman on his own and looking to sell, it would have been sold for more, for sure. Or they would have found it a bit more difficult in order to get a deal done to buy Chelsea. Yeah. The value is so high. They've got it at a cut price, which is now why you got to put yourself into their shoes. They are tied down with this football club for 10 years. I've seen a few people say, and I've not entertained this, but I'm like, is the intention to sell after those 10 years are done and just pick up? So a brand new stadium, they've got the profits that they've managed to get. They've put the club up for sale. The value's increased. Boss, see you later. They've probably made double, triple what they initially bought the club for. It's possible.
This super chat comes in. I disagree to a certain extent. Most money any Prem club gets is from TV rights. If we're not winning in the long run, we won't be getting the.
They're
TV
not in
money
it for the long run.
That we are. So surely the owners are
just told
aware
that they flip the value and sell off the club. You
That's
make
10 years though. In 10 years, you can lose a lot of TV money. And to be honest, they're playing so close with relegation fights that if we get relegated, you can forget about TV money. And especially and again, Champions League money as well. There's a lot of money to be. I still believe there's a lot of money at stake when you don't perform. And if you dwindle in mid-table for too long, you lose out on a lot of money. And I don't think you're gonna make that money back on players. I really don't, because they've clearly, so far, the development path and the procedure in which when they arrive to then getting them to the level where you can sell them is still not in place. And you can see that with Andre Santos. You can see that with Datro Fofana, who's going to get his loan cut short. I think it was meant to be, a 2-year loan, wasn't it? They said he'd come back in the summer. Diego go. Is that Leon not playing no minutes? So, I mean, he was on a free, so they're lucky with that one. But point is, they haven't really perfected this young profit scheme yet that they're trying to implement. So I still think they need that money to come in from elsewhere. And if they drive the club into mediocrity, they're going to make a hell of a lot less money, and they're also going to be way less attractive for players to come to, which means they're not going to maybe get the top talent. The thing is, people talk in football. Once talent talk and once they clock what we're doing, they're not going to want to join us. We saw a player in the summer reject us. No, what was his name? From what was his name? He ended up joining a different French team. It was a striker that scored against Arsenal. What's his name?
Wahi.
Wahi clocked it. He was like, yo, I'm not joining this lot. They're taking the piss. I can see exactly what they're doing. They're trying to bring me in and then loan me to Strasbourg. What's going on? So slowly but surely, I'm hoping, this is why I hope we get rejected by young players. I actually hope we do. Every time a young player rejects us, I don't care who they are right now, because we've got enough. Every time a young player rejects us, I celebrate. It means that people are clocking on. And if these young players can clock on to what we're doing and stop joining us, fantastic. Music to my ears, because then they're going to...
No, you're right on that. I'd say to an extent, in terms of hoping the young players don't join, I agree completely, because then that could maybe be a bit of an awakener. In terms of the TV money, I think the only one that we're losing on is European TV money. So being in the Champions League, even the Europa League, you're getting TV money for there. But for the Premier League, it's shared, and you are going to be shown. Chelsea are going to be shown. In fact, I think even with the bad publicity, Sky Sports and BT will probably be advocating to show us just to see the downfall, because that's more attention, that's more eyes. So I think, but it is in the Premier League. The TV money and the TV rights are shared. Unlike before there used to be a bit of a monopoly on the top four. And then it started to get shared a little bit more equal, which is why we're getting days where, for example, Chelsea are playing, Liverpool are playing, but West Ham and Palace are being shown on Sky.
Yeah, I think this is only European football it really applies to.
It's shared. So, and this is where I have to go back to the point of...
But also gate receipts, by the way, because if you're playing one game a week, that's not 60 games a season. So if you're not playing European football, you're getting a hell of a lot less money coming through the turnstiles. So
through the turnstile. But the thing is, when you look at in proportion to the overall revenue of the club that's coming in terms of commercial activity and
that should affect commercial, though, bro.
It's tight. It's really.
But that should affect commercial, because if I'm a sponsor and I want to sponsor Chelsea, we're too global. I get
we're too global.
Yeah.
Now, if this was before, if this was when we're fresh on the block, like say if it was Newcastle, they can't afford that. They can't afford that because they haven't imprinted themselves globally yet. But we've done that. Yeah, you go to Africa and see Chelsea supporters, Asia, Chelsea supporters, America, Chelsea supporters, we're everywhere, right? So it's large enough on a commercial activity.
And Chelsea fan base in India, bro. We've got official supporters club in India.
It's too widespread. But this is where I go back to that point of, look, these owners are now 2 years in. There's 8 to go until when they can sell. Are they just going to hold on and do what they've got to do to try and reap what they can, and then after 10 years just sell the club? Maybe.
But that's the funny thing. Like, I hear people talking about, we got to protest. And I get it, right? Fans have power. But Roman himself locked them in to 10 years. I don't think people understand that. They don't talk about that enough. Roman,
I'll be honest.
Do you really think Roman had any power, Matisse?
I don't think he did.
Yeah, so maybe he didn't, but somebody who is running this operation, Rain Group,
the Rain Group, the UK government,
they locked it in. The point is it's locked in, right? Locked in, bro. So they're not going anywhere.
Yeah, they're really literally not.
No, they're not.
So, you know, that's that.
They don't want to go anywhere either. They don't
This
want to
is the
go.
thing.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a strategy in place here, like I've said. And then if they do get what they want at the end, they'll pick up what they've got and they'll leave. Maybe.
These business people have set themselves up for 10 years knowing that after this, they can triple the money from Chelsea. Yeah, definitely triple the money. You think like some owner in about 8 years' time from the Middle East, let's just say, won't come in and put exorbitant amount of money into the club and not buy it? Of course they will. So they've clocked it. This is an easy banker, this one. Absolute easy banker. They've said in about 10 years' time, lads, we are going to triple the money here. We're going to have a very, very sound retirement, look after our entire family for the rest of their lives as well. So it's sad. It's sad. I just thought that they could have done that by having the mentality of going for something serious and winning it as well. Like, you didn't have to be so one-way street here with the youth. Like, you could have balanced it out with a lot more experienced players and go for the win. Like, yeah.
Let's see if they prove everybody wrong, because right now they're not great. They're not looking good. 2 seasons of mediocrity in mid-table, and they're still looking at 16-year-old Brazilians. So let's go through these super chats before we come to a close, because I think we're all going to do previews on Sheffield United, and to be honest, we all know what we're going to say. There's really not too much to say. I don't care what the team. I said it on Big Six. I don't care what the team looks like. I don't care who's out injured. I don't care what the situation is, what formation. You better just win the game. We don't have no fullbacks. Cool. Play 2 young players from the academy. Win the game. It's just become that simple. If we're honest, they want the RB model, set of players for a style of play. Nagelsmann was defo number 1, but owners wanted too much control. We need a top DOF. I think a president, bro, what we suggested before. I'm not gonna lie. That's the only person that could maybe stop all this. Party and a bowl of jollof for Caicedo. Win-win. No, piss off. Your injury-prone DM. We don't want your injury-prone DM, bro. Look at these Arsenal fans, bro. J5 plus Vieira for Caicedo could throw in Tierney. Piss off again. It's said previously we hired mid directors from mid clubs. Christopher Vell was smart to leave this shit show, says Kingsley. Oh dear. How long before the Chelsea match going fans turn Stamford Bridge like what the Ajax fans did to their stadium? Who will be our manager next year? I don't know. According to some people that go into the games, they're saying the fans have become kind of numb to the defeats, and they've become kind of accepting of the situation in terms of when we lose, they don't really boo, they don't really get too emotional about it, they just get up and go. I don't know.
I'll be honest, I think it'll get to, if this continues, right, it'll get to a certain level, and to be honest, it might even be Saturday. I do suspect that we. Then again, I say suspect. I mean,
do you think we're not going to win against Sheffield United?
You'd think we would. Like, come on,
bro.
man.
I actually,
just
you know
end
what?
The season. Like, let's not play anymore.
I'm happy to admit I may be delusional, but I can't fathom not beating Sheffield United. It's probably the Chelsea brain within me, which is like, now I'm just stuck in the past where I'm like, how the fuck are we not beating Sheffield United? but I can't take it. If we don't beat Sheffield United, I can't take it.
Bro, you're right. But you know what? If this was Paul Heckingbottom in charge of Sheffield United, they looked a mess. Yeah, they were a shambles. No shape, no nothing. They were. I reckon we'd win, even comfortably. With Chris Wilder, man, I don't think it's going to be as easy as people think. So, but this is the thing. Going back to that point, I think it'll get to a point where eventually the match-going supporters will they'll have enough. If this continues, they'll have enough. They'll start getting very vocal. Pretty sure.
We must win tomorrow. I did not travel from New York City to see us lose to Sheffield United. Like I said to you on the Big Six, brother.
Mate,
you sent a super chat there. Much appreciated. Have other activities planned. Big Ben.
Please.
It's finally fully constructed. Check it out. Shard, lovely, beautiful, lovely views. Camden Market, good food, stores, music, vibes. Listen, I can give you an artillery, bruv. List, no problem. You need to find other things to do because This cannot be your only. This cannot be just.
Did you say artillery or itinerary? I just clocked it. I'll give you an artillery. I'm like, what?
That's just like
The man is going to give him a weapon.
That was, bro. Maybe you'll need one. I can't lie. Maybe you'll need one if you're going out at night. Listen, that was such a Saeed moment.
Matisse meant itinerary, by the way.
That was such a Saeed moment. Listen, when it comes to,
I was like, did he just say artillery?
When it comes, well, you know what I'm saying. When it comes to coming to see Chelsea from another country, this cannot be your only mission statement. You need to have other things to do. You need to have your whole trip, you know, revolving around the experience. Don't just let Chelsea be the only thing, because if it is, then God help you. Oh dear. Damn. Right. Let's go through this last one. Watching some Chelsea fans celebrating that Silva is leaving. Nah, we don't deserve world-class players. I don't think Silva deserves to have to go through his later years in life doing all this. Just, brother, retire, man. Just be with your family. Do you know what I mean? You've done your thing. Do you know what it is with Silva? He's had his career. He's won what he's won. We're not ready to win. We're not going to win anything significant anytime soon. We're clearly in an absolute crisis situation.
Yeah.
It's just kicking the can down the road, really. Silva staying. Silva will leave eventually, right? We will need to bring in leadership regardless. We need to bring in a spine regardless. This team need to learn to defend for themselves. They need to learn how to win for themselves, to look after themselves. This is like the equivalent of a 35, 40-year-old man who's still at home with his parents. And he's like, oh, you know, we still need to keep him here because he's not ready to leave the nest. He needs love and guidance and nurturing and warmth. And brother, get out, man, and go get a job, bro. Leave the yard, bro. You know what I mean? That's what this is. I don't, do you know what it is? I love Silva, but at the end of the day, it's time for this group to grow up. It's time for this whole football club to fix up. And Silva is just like kicking the can down the road. He'll keep helping us and holding us. He can't help us anymore. We're still shit. Have you noticed? With Silva in the team playing every single Premier League minute up until the last game, we're still mid-table. So I'm sorry, at this point, let that brother go and be with his family. Go and play some futsal or some MLS or something, yeah? And just leave us to fix our shit, bro. Do you know what I mean? Because you can't save us, bro. If you're relying on 40-year-old Silva next season to save your football club, then you're mudded. You're finished.
You know, on top of that, though, it's I said this yesterday, it's unfortunate that it's at the point where, you know, someone like Thiago Silva, we know what he possesses, at least in terms of his character and what he brings, I'd say, to the dressing room, at least. And the fact that he has to retire, he has to call it a day, and that's expected. But the fact that we're looking at someone like Thiago Silva and going, oh, man, do you have to go now? Like, the timing of it couldn't be worse. Be
40 years of age.
Absolutely. The timing of this couldn't be worse with the situation that we're in and the leadership that we're lacking. And now he has to retire. It's just, it just goes to show how deprived we are in that dressing room of any sort of leadership whatsoever, man. When he goes, who are we going to have?
That brother is.
If we don't get anyone in.
40. Have you seen what Wayne Rooney looks like? He's younger than Silva.
Mate. He looks 60. Yeah.
I don't know what skincare. I don't know what skincare routine Silva's got, but we will need to find that out before he leaves. That's the most important thing. Forget all this football shit. I need to find out what skincare routine he's using.
He looks after himself. He's one of those players like a Ronaldo that are just they're on recovery. They have good routines. They're family orientated. They do what they got to do. They're serious.
Good diet.
Serious. Yeah. That's why he's lasted this long. It's not a surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let Silva and Terry become defensive coaches in the first team or something. That'd be a lovely little partnership. See if they can extract some shit out of this team. Right, guys, let's wrap up because I've got a lovely, expensive piece of equipment sitting in some shopping down the road, and I just don't trust the community. UPS, shout out UPS. Thank you so much for this fantastic service that you're providing. I have to get an Uber to get my shit. Miz, let the people know where to find you, bro. It's been a pleasure.
No, it's been fantastic once again. I was a little bit confused as to what was going on in the beginning with all the midfield talk, but I found my composure later on. But yeah, man, subscribe. Yeah, we hit 30,000 few days back, so that was pretty good.
Hey.
That was a nice little milestone. So thank you to each and every one of you guys. Yeah, preview coming up, and then watch along, and then yeah, let's see, man. I'll go. I don't know, man. I just got this bad feeling about this. I think I'm gonna lose my mind. So I'm preparing myself for that.
Wow. Well, there we are. Younes, let the people know where to find you. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, man. Preview later on. Chelsea, Sheffield United. We'll get into that. So Younes talks football, and then yeah, tomorrow we'll go through hell. We'll go through the motions, and we will be here. Maybe for another emergency. Maybe just a normal, regular show next week. We'll see.
Wow. Do you know what? Yeah, I have a feeling that if we don't win tomorrow, right, we may not be here anymore with another show. We might all just lose the plot and just be outside Stamford Bridge. Miz will take a flight. Bubba will take a flight. Crisis vlog. Do you know what I mean? Bubba, let the people know where to find you. Pleasure as always, bro.
Yeah, man, good show. Same as always, Drogbaba. We'll be doing the watch along tomorrow, as well as a preview. After a long time, after ages, I will be doing a Chelsea preview because I would want us to win this game. But the preview would be mostly based on what happens if we lose. So to make sure to check that out. And yeah, man, just hoping we can get something out of this season, man. Just praying for something to happen.
There you are. Well, guys, listen, smash up the likes, subscribe if you haven't already. It's been a top quality show, and yeah, starting to piece together what's going on here, and I'm not feeling it. Let's see what happens against Sheffield United and Newcastle, because I think that's after that will probably be the next show. And to be honest, if we we need to win both those games. I think the cup run, this fan base desperately needs a cup run. I don't think it won't paper over the cracks, but if we could somehow get ourselves to Wembley, I think this fan base could really do with a day out. So yeah, let's see what happens. Until next time, in a bit, people. Peace.